let's see, my dad came from South Africa in the 70s, in the late 70s, and I don't know. He got a visa by sheer luck and determination and came over here. My mom came separately. She came from Ghana, and they settled in Anaheim. And then I guess my dad wanted a wife.
Comes a time in a man's life.
Yes. So he headed over to California, and they hit it off. Moved back to Texas, and that's how I came about.
That's great. That's great. That's a great story. You have like really strong diasporic roots, and that's really cool. Can you tell me just what is some of your favorite moments, if you have any, from the summit, and what made them personally meaningful to you?
I'd have to say from the opening plenary, seeing I forgot the lady's name, but the member from Drum,
Shamim Akhtar.
Shamim, yeah, she just had so much passion, and she came in asking us to do something. I mean, that was the first thing that came out of her mouth. She's like, please do this for us, please represent us undocumented people. So I just felt like it was great to have such passion and such direction going home too, and so that stood out for me. I thought the open mic was great.
I agree. I
As
had
a
a lot
person whose main affiliation is the arts, I guess, it was great to see another side of all the organizers, a softer and a kind of wilder side.
Well, I know we're very lucky to have Subdrift here in DC, and it just takes one person to make it happen anywhere else. That was kind of one of the reasons we wanted to bring in the actual Subdrift people to kind of talk about the process, and there are parts of it that are challenging, but ultimately it was just a group of people who were just like SAPAC, a group of people who were passionate about it and thought, why not? We could do it. So anyway, going on. I know you must have attended a ton of sessions. Could you just talk a little bit about maybe sessions that you really liked, or that you thought kind of left you surprised or feeling like you could do something, or something that just really changed the way you thought about an issue or the South Asian community or our future?
Okay. I went to the census session today, and I feel like the census is such a concrete, tangible process, and I know that SAPAC is going to be involved with it in the next year or two. So I just felt like the connections that we made and the information we received, I can actually go back and follow up on it. And I think the process, I want to make sure that we know what the process is, because it's going to be so confusing communicating it to people. But I really want us to be counted this time, and it's such a great opportunity. It's all about the data.
Absolutely. It has an effect and a relevance that lasts for at least 10 years. So and more than
the longest time. And I'm a grant writer. That's my day job. So I know that I need the data to be able to make the ask to funders to justify it. So I'm so excited to be part of this.
That's very cool. The census is personally, me too. I'm like, oh my God, so cool. So being somebody who's a very active person in SAPAC, a volunteer collective in Chicago, what have you gained at the summit that you'll be able to bring back to SAPAC that will be relevant, that will energize the members, that will kind of keep you going? You mentioned the census, relationships. What do you think has occurred here that will kind of enhance what SAPAC is able to do in Chicago?
I went to the spokesperson workshop, and I feel like it would really help us kind of solidify our messaging and make it more focused. So I'm kind of excited about that, and maybe doing a mini workshop for SAPACers. And because I feel like, especially with a member organization and a volunteer-run organization, everyone has to be out there advocating. So it's really important for us to know our stuff and everyone kind of be our cheerleader wherever they go.
Mhm.
So I'm excited about that.
Did you participate in Advocacy Day? I'm just trying to remember.
Yes.
Okay, so you were part of the Hill visits. So I know that we part of what we wanted to do kind of with the Hill visits was to be able to show legislators and policymakers about what issues like immigration reform that cross-cut large sections of the South Asian community, how we could build kind of a framework that was very inclusive of many aspects of the South Asian community, but was very clear on like what immigration reform we wanted. So, what do you think what message were you able to convey during your Hill delegation visits about issues like immigration reform to policymakers and those who advise policymakers?
I feel like on our visit, at least the people I was with, we really seemed to represent women's organizations. It just happened that way. And I feel like in terms of immigration, making sure that spouses, fiancés, dependents are taken care of and protected, and that those people don't get kind of put aside during the immigration reform process. So just kind of making sure that our legislators remember that and know that that's important to their constituents. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So I've been ending my interviews this way. So I wanted to know, based on kind of the experiences that you've described and what you've had here at the summit, what is your call to action?
Oh, I just finished my postcard. So
You're gonna read it out loud, okay, but it's personal and private.
yes. So SAPAC's call to action?
Well, whichever you'd like to say. Like, now that the summit is coming to a close, what would you either want to say is my call to action to myself, or my call to action to everyone else here who is at the summit?
I think like a lot of ideas were put out and a lot of cards were exchanged. So number one, following up on that, gathering all my cards together and making those phone calls. That's the first thing I'm going to do when I get home. And the second thing is, I think I'd like to tell SAPAC and the people back home that it feels like there's a movement happening, and that we're part of that, and maybe that'll kind of inspire people to keep going when things seem kind of impossible.